Hello and welcome to Behind the Gavel with Lower Merion Board of Commissioners President Liz Rogan. I'm Tom Walsh, Public Information Officer for the Township. Welcome, Liz. Nice to see you.
Oh, it's great to be here. Welcome to you, actually, is really more in keeping because it's your first one with you and I together.
That's right.
Not the first time that you've been on our cable station. But
that's right. But I think a lot of people are tuning in to Behind the Gavel and expecting to see someone else, Brenda.
Oh, well, they might be, but Brenda's now doing something that she really wanted to do, and we get to work together now. So.
That's right. We're speaking, of course, of Brenda Viola, the former Public Information Officer, who I've succeeded just recently, and thanks for hiring.
Well,
I'm happy to be here,
and it's wonderful to have you here. You have an amazing background, and so you know the township, and somebody who loves planning. I can't love anybody who doesn't love planning, and so you're high on that list.
Well, thanks. And actually, planning is something we're going to talk about today. But first off, I thought we'd get started a little bit with since it is September. It's not a new calendar year, but everything starts up again in September. So I'm wondering if you can tell us about some of the big items on the agenda for the Board of Commissioners between September and the end of 2012.
Well, certainly a big thing we'll be doing is the budget. And I don't really want to go a lot into the budget, but we'll talk a little bit about that. But the really exciting thing that's going to be happening is that, we're going to be our brand new project that we've been working on for quite a long time, the Ludington Library.
That's right.
The astonishing Ludington Library is going to be opening, and it is an amazing building.
It really is. It's beautiful. It's just gorgeous, and anyone who's not had the opportunity to see it, it's scheduled to open September 8th. That date will probably be gone by the time most people
well, they'll be going on
this.
for They'll be going. This will be going on for a while, but they probably will still have time to take advantage of the library for now until the rest of until we do it again. But it's such an exciting place. It's beautiful. It's all the light that comes in and the new arrangement with the eating areas. It's like going to a Borders, but you don't have to pay anything for the books. So
that's
it's
right, and
cool.
That's a good point. It was modeled very specifically on the concept of a modern bookstore.
Right.
So like Borders, which unfortunately is no longer, and Barnes and Noble.
Which is, but isn't.
You have the cafe. There's no service, no baristas in there, but there is a cafe where you can have a cup of coffee and something to eat.
It's a gorgeous place, and it's a public space that's really usable and really friendly to use and really easy to use. And now everybody will be able to use it because of the accessibility improvements. Now you can get in from the street, from Lancaster Avenue, not just from the parking lot. I think that was a really great design. We actually have a green roof on part of it, so that's a really, that's a forward-thinking and a wonderful investment for our community to have.
It's going to save a lot of money over the years.
Yeah.
Actually, pretty quick turnaround on investment there, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the details of it, but I'm glad to hear that. That's a good thing to know.
That's what I understand.
I also like the fact that now we'll be able to do like the self-checkout stuff
that's right.
I've seen in other libraries and other communities, but we never had that. So Ludington will be the first one to have that.
I've used that at the Ardmore Library. It's much more intuitive than the ones at the supermarket.
Oh, good. Good.
I always end up having to get help at the supermarket when I'm trying to do self-checkout. Anyway, some of the other highlights of the library I just wanted to mention has this just soaring 3-story extension that as Board President Rogan said, yes, and that's part of the Bryn Mawr Master Plan, from what I understand.
Yeah.
It's fully handicapped accessible, and there are meeting rooms for eligible community groups. And as we talked about, sections that are modeled after a modern bookstore, such as health and wellness, business, personal finance, travel, cooking, local history. So a book sale room in the basement too.
That's one of my favorite things, is that there's a whole room for you can buy books, and it'll be cheaper than when I used to go to Borders.
That's right, and there's very few places to buy books in the township these days.
So everybody should know, who loves books, they can go and get bargains at the Ludington Library.
That's right. And there's some. While we're mentioning it, the Ardmore Library basement has a bookstore as well.
And I didn't even know that. And I've been going to the Ardmore Library for a lot. I go to all of our libraries.
If you're looking for some classic literature, they really do a nice job of picking stuff out.
And
you can get your pulp paperbacks down there too.
Good. That's important.
That's right.
That's what my kids like. I like those too, and especially since now we're just back from already gone through all my pulp fiction, and so now I
Oh,
need
okay.
something new to
All right.
occupy my time.
Yeah. Maybe some other time we can talk more about your taste in literature.
No, not on this station.
That's right.
No. But so that's a really big, exciting thing that's going on. And then we also still have other libraries going on. We have the Gavel library is underway, and that's going to be it's on time. Things are going well. Hopefully, it'll be done in the beginning of 2013, is what I understood. And so that library's underway, and then we also have things starting at the Gladwin and the Ardmore Library, and hopefully at the Gladwin Library also. We're still doing some work with the Gladwin community on what the details of the entry expansion is going to look like, but that'll be underway too. So those are three really exciting types of projects besides all the budget stuff that'll be going on.
And some more details on the library expansions and renovations. People will be able to hear about those during the Board of Commissioners meetings, I guess.
Absolutely.
Some things still to be debated, I imagine. But anyway, talking about the Ludington Library and its design, it reminds me of something very exciting that's come up for you personally, but also for the township, and that is the invitation that you received from the Mayor's Institute on City Design. Now, this is a national group that has picked Lower Merion and picked you to address their group for a specific project. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, the Mayor's Institute on City Design is a nonprofit. I think, again, it's got 3 different members. I'm not sure who, but I know it's the United States Council on Mayors and the National Endowment for the Arts, and they have 3 national convention workshops or events, and they have 3 regional events, so that what I get to participate is a regional event being hosted by the University of Kentucky, I think. And
they
so
switch it around, colleges around the country and universities.
And it's their design school that's going to be hosting it, and so I'll be able to go and participate in terms of presenting a challenge that we face in terms of design. Their concept is the value and importance of how design affects a community, and the fact that the leaders of those communities and the people that make the decisions on how development occurs in a community need to understand the relationship between design and the quality and character of life in a community.
Now, I was lucky enough to sit in on a discussion that you had with these folks just very recently. Can you tell our audience a little bit about the projects about the challenge projects that are being looked at?
I think what's really interesting is that what they do is sort of it's a discussion and it's an opportunity for community leaders. Like, I'll be participating with several, I think 5 other or 6 other mayors in other communities that will each of us will be bringing a challenge that we have in our community to present. So we'll do like a very brief presentation, and the organization has pulled together a series of national recognized professionals in architecture and urban design, and there's a guy that's from the Department of Transportation, and so they have all of these different design professionals that are nationally known that will be listening to what the case study is and then giving us feedback. And so what I had talked to staff about and some of the commissioners about is what makes sense for Lower Merion to discuss. And one of the things I think that we talked about was the fact that we have a lot of little projects going on. We've been focusing on how to make Lower Merion sustainable into the future and really make it a more modern community. And how can you make a community that's so developed? I mean, we're already developed and built out. How do you make it the places that aren't up to that quality and standard?
Redevelopment.
Yep. And so making it a live, work, play situation. And we've talked about that in so many different types of settings, like on Rock Hill Road and on the M District and on City Avenue. Those were the 3 that we spent, I think, the most time talking about.
Now, for people who are not so familiar with the M District, can you describe where that is?
That's right by that. As you come down Writers Ferry Road, you dead end at the river, right by the Pencoy Bridge, where Connolly Container is, and probably everybody knows it if they drove by on the expressway and they see the Christmas tree on top of the water tower.
That's right.
That's where part of the M District is, and the M District stands for manufacturing. There really isn't any manufacturing going on there anymore.
That's right. It's part of the township that most people don't really even know exists if they never see it.
Exactly, and it has so much opportunity. and it's so different than you think about what exists on Rock Hill Road, and it's even more different than what happens on City Avenue.
Now, has a decision been made? Has one of these projects been picked?
When we were talking to the three people from the program came to talk to us, and it seems, we could pick one specific location, and so those are three very big areas, but we can't control any one site. And so really what we kept talking about at all three of those sites was the fact that we wanted to make them really, pedestrian-oriented places where people could go to and live in and work in if they chose. But since there's a pretty standard approach to doing that type of mixed-use development nationally, but those are three such different areas, you can't do it the same way in three places. So I think maybe we'll focus on the M District area and City Avenue in terms of their relationship together and how they might be able to work together in that type of a redevelopment and recreation of those areas.
Interesting. So the MICD says that it works to transform mayors into advocates for good design by hosting symposiums on urban design. We only have a short time left before a break here, but it seems to me that you're already such an advocate. I mean, you're a planner by trade.
Yeah, well, that makes it even better, honestly. I think that, we can talk about it more if you want, but I think that, it gives us an opportunity that we wouldn't otherwise have. And while I might be a professional, I'm certified as a planner, that only helps me understand it better, but it also, I think, gives the township an opportunity to learn from other people that we wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to learn from. And, I think that's always beneficial. It also gets, the township some feedback that we might otherwise never get.
Yes, it's like having this panel of really well-qualified consultants basically letting us know what can happen here for the good, and it's not costing us any money.
Yeah.
And so, well, we have to take a break right now, and we'll be right back after a short message with more Behind the Gavel. Hello and welcome back to Behind the Gavel with Board President Liz Rogan. And before the break we were talking about the Mayor's Institute on City Design, which is picked Lower Merion for a specific project for this fall.
It did. It was really interesting. I hadn't ever heard of the Mayor's Institute on City Design before they had sent the invitation, which is a huge honor for me, and then also a great opportunity for the township. So.
And one thing that's sort of come up is if you're a board president, of course, you're not a mayor.
Right. That's true. I actually asked them about that because it says the Mayor's Institute on Design, and so I wrote them and I said, I'm the president of the board, and I'm elected by my local neighbors and then selected by my peers, my colleagues on the Board of Commissioners to be the president. It's not quite the same thing as a mayor.
Well, you're elected twice instead of just once.
Right,
so
they didn't say that. It was interesting, though. But I have the same obligations and responsibilities in terms of being the chief executive officer for policy and goals for the community and for governance. So they wrote me back and said, you do perform the same function even if you don't have the same title. So I was really happy they said that because it is really interesting to me as a professional, but also I think that it gives the township, an extra added recognition. And we already got some recognition from
that's right. CNN Money, an online publication, which is a combination of CNN and Money Magazine. They have recently named Lower Merion Township, near the top of its recently published top earning towns list.
That's right.
And that in itself is part of this ongoing Best Places to Live series.
Yeah, we're number 5, right?
That's right, we're number 5.
After out of 100, which I thought was pretty good, but we'll just keep moving up
yes.
on that list, I'm sure.
Yes. Well, the CNN puts Lower Merion's median family income at more than $150,000. And I thought this was especially telling about the health, the financial health of the township. The median home price for the township is more than $550,000.
Yeah, that's a little bit lower, but given the past 3 years and the 2 years,
it's very stable.
Yeah.
And very significant that home prices have remained that stable in this township. So.
Yeah, it's a compliment to all the residents who live here, the people that run the township, and
that's right.
It's an affirmation that we're doing things the right way.
Right. And I got to thinking about this, and it seemed like a lot of people around the nation probably know about the main line, the Philadelphia Story, etc. And perhaps certainly Great Gatsby. Well, that's Long Island, right? Great Gatsby? I think so. But anyway, Bryn Mawr, of course, is well known as the town and the college at Villanova, but not so much the name Lower Merion.
Right, which is why I think that MICD invitation is important, because it looks at the whole township, and we've done some pretty, unique things in other places of our township, and so it's nice to get the recognition in other areas, and so that's why I think that looking at what we're trying to do to revitalize the City Avenue district, the manufacturing district along the river, and the quarry area along Lock Hill Road, those are really, other communities have those challenges, and so maybe they have some good solutions that we can learn about, and they'll learn about us. And
it was really interesting to talk with them about those places, because to have them highlighted on the map. Bob Duncan,
Bob did a great job. He presented a PowerPoint that some of which I probably take out and use as the presentation that I'll use at the event. So, and that'll be in October. So when we come and talk in October, maybe we can talk about how that went.
I'd love to hear more about it. Yes, it was very revealing to see what Bob put together. Bob Duncan, our head of planning and building, and because it really brought them out in relief to see Rock Hill Road isolated like that, and you could really see where the improvement could come. And how it actually connected with the M District and City Avenue. They're pretty close together there. Right. With the Kinwood Trail sort of running right between them.
Exactly.
So there's potential.
There is so much potential there. And, as a community that's of the quality that it is, and, our residential neighborhoods are so amazing. But when you come in to either end, you come in onto City Avenue or come in on Belmont Avenue, that's not a reflection of the quality that's here in our township. And
a little scruffy.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, yeah. I could think of other descriptors, but scruffy is good. And so I think that having some good ideas from professionals on how we might be able to encourage new development, because we don't own the properties, but we can certainly encourage and provide information to other people who do own the properties on what they might want to consider doing in those locations.
Well, speaking of great communities, Ardmore, the Ardmore Revitalization Project, is sort of an ongoing thing with the Ardmore Transit Center.
It is.
And Ardmore, by the way, was honored last year by CNN Money.
The best place for singles to live, is that what it was?
That's right, for the rich and single.
Oh, don't forget that part of it, yes.
But more significantly, I think later on, it was named the 45th best small town in the country. And I'll never forget Christine Villardo from the Ardmore Initiative. Her first reaction was, only 45th?
That's right.
She was indignant.
That's right. I think that is correct. She's right to feel that way. It's good to be recognized, but they need to put us in the proper place. So
we've got plenty of room to go.
That's right. Yeah. And we'll reach it, because we have this now Ardmore Transit stuff coming on that will probably catapult us up to like the first or second, I'm sure.
So what's going on with that? I was going to ask, what can we expect going into the fall with this?
Well, we did extend the agreement with our partner, our private partner, Dronoff Properties. We extended that agreement that we have with him already in place until the end of the year. And we're working, we're still working on things, even though people don't hear a whole lot about it. We've been on summer break, but we're still working with our partners, with Amtrak and SEPTA and PennDOT, and talking about phasing options and how we can potentially move forward in a more expedited fashion. Looking at how the station and the ADA improvements like the platforms and the elevators can go forward more quickly, because that's what money we've been sitting there waiting for us to spend. And parking is a huge issue, and parking helps not only our business community but also the two transit operators. So we have to be able to get that as well. So.
And some of the blueprints that folks might have seen in the paper or online having to do with the parking garage and the Cricket Avenues, that's all still on the table?
It's still on the table. We have to figure out, you know, they're so interconnected, and we have to be doing this really smart, and we only have a certain amount of money. So it's really, you know, we have to look at how we can phase it and get things done in an expeditious fashion, but also in the most efficient fashion. So yeah, that's what we've been working on. I think that probably will come back in October, and have more detail. Maybe we'll have a working session with the committee, the Ardmore committee, sooner than October, but we haven't scheduled anything yet.
Right. Well, market conditions have certainly improved since the spring of 2012, and definitely since the worst of the recession 2 or 3 years ago.
Which makes us want to do it even sooner, because we don't want prices to go up. So.
Right, and importantly, you know, developers, especially solid developers with great records like Carl Drano, they can get financing now.
Yes.
At least a little bit anyway. Better than it was.
He has never said that he has any concern about getting financing for his projects. He's doing projects in Philly right now, so I think that there won't be any problem with that. And he's that match. He's an important part of why we got the grant money that we got, is because he's putting in private money.
Yeah, he's done some terrific stuff downtown, apartment and condo conversion. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, we mentioned the budget a little earlier. But one thing that's coming up in September 22nd, is Budget Saturday, which is open to the public here in the Township Administration Building. You could stay tuned later on for times, specific times, but pretty much from 8 o'clock in the morning through the afternoon.
I think that the session starts at 8:30 is my recollection here in the boardroom at the Township Building, and it's a workshop for staff and the board. So the public's invited to come either there or in person. We're happy to see people in the audience, but they could also watch on TV. And it'll be just like last year's Budget Saturday, and immediately following that we'll do a discussion with the board and staff on the management pay and benefits that people have been asking about and curious about. And while there's not any public comment at the Saturday session, we're hoping people will be taking notes. They'll get in contact with either their commissioner or the staff here to follow up with questions.
Right. And I'll be here that day, so you feel free to come up to me and ask questions. I probably won't be able to answer them yet, but I'll certainly relay them.
Yes. Right.
And thanks for the plug. It will be live here on LMTV.
That's right.
So we have just a couple more minutes left. I wanted to talk to you about a township employee who's very special to everyone here, Eileen Trainer, our beloved township secretary, Eileen Trainer. After 30 years of public service to the township, is leaving us in January. It's very exciting for Eileen, a little sad for us, especially folks like you who have worked with her for many years.
Eileen is like the most elegant and gracious face of Lower Merion Township. You know, she really is. She represents the board, and as we've been in our stellar stages and our not so stellar stages, it's always been Eileen that has been that wonderful.
That's right. She works for the board.
That's right. She's an employee directly, just like the manager. The only two people that the board actually hires are the other than contracts. But Eileen has been a remarkable asset to everybody here in the township, not just the Board of Commissioners, but to everybody. And I think that it is a huge loss for us, and it's, but at the same time, I think everybody on the Board of Commissioners is thrilled for her. You know, she gets to actually go on, and she actually gets to now do the things that we kept her from doing for all these years, because we made her stay at all these meetings and events. And so while our loss is, a bad thing and sad for everybody, it's also, we're really excited.
Yeah, I've only been here a month, and I feel like I've known her half my life.
She's a remarkable woman.
She's absolutely wonderful.
And so, I think that
we're going to try to have her on the LMTV here for a show to get her memories. Can you help us out? Help us out with that?
I am going to ask. I'm going to plead. I'll go down on my knees.
Okay.
I think that really everybody should have an opportunity to have something of Eileen, and if they didn't come to the Township Building, this is a great way of being able to have some.
That's right. That's right. And okay, well, thanks very much. This has been a great experience. It's nice to talk to you in our first Behind the Gavel together.
It's been wonderful, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yep, me too.
Okay.
And that'll be next month. So we have to wrap up. This has been Behind the Gavel with Lower Merion Board of Commissioners President Liz Rogan. I'm Tom Walsh, Public Information Officer. Have a great day.